The first.
All right, we're rolling.
There you go, Ken.
And let's get great, sir, for Ken.
Opening night of the Army football huddle season. The Black Knights will host Tarleton State here on Friday night at 6 o'clock start. And we've got our cast spread out around the country. I want to start by thanking Stephanie, our producer, for her help on this, and Richard Miller. We've got Colonel Sam Houston. Colonel, how are you? Sam's still eating his dinner.
It's the most wonderful time of the year, Ken. I'm doing great.
Okay. And let's see who else we've got. We ought to have, Richard Miller from West Palm Beach, Florida. Richard, say hello.
Hi, everyone. I am so pumped for this Army football season.
Okay. Okay. And we have got Chuck Donegan from Long Island. Chuck, how are you?
I'm good, Ken. Great to be back for the new season.
Good to have everybody on. And I believe we've got Jack McGurk on. Do we have Jack?
He has not joined yet.
Okay, Jack
I
has
did
a
send him
tendency
the
to have a
invite.
late dinner. But it is great to be on here. Just watched the Monday practice for the team, talked to a couple of the players, talked to Will Jeffcoat and Jack Latour, two seniors on the Army football team. And Jeffcoat is going to be the starting left guard, and Jack Latour is going to be a starting defensive end. Also talked to another defensive end, Deshaun Gray, and you can see those on up on our Twitter page at CaMMVetsMedia. And just excited. Chuck was here on Friday night. Chuck, what was your impression? You got a chance to talk to Army quarterback Wayne Coleman and Coach Munkin and watch the scrimmage. A lot of special teams play on Friday night. What was your impression of that?
Well, Ken, I think, they're ready, raring to go for the upcoming season. It was quite a scrimmage. We saw a 29-0 shutout, black over gold. Yep, and definitely a standout performance by Dwayne Coleman, considered by some to be the heir apparent to recent graduate Bryson Daly.
Absolutely. As many fans know, the projected number 2 quarterback, Ethan Washington, some thought he had a chance to be the starter this year. At the very least, part of a 1-2 punch at quarterback for Army was hurt in the first scrimmage, received a turf injury, and is out for the foreseeable future. Concerned about whether we'll see him again this year. We wish him the best. Very good, outstanding young man, sophomore. Talked to his dad at practice one day last week. But it's going to be a lot of Army success this year is going to ride on the shoulders of the senior quarterback, Dwayne Coleman, who really was the understudy to Bryson Daly. I thought Dwayne gave Bryson Daly some competition in some of the spring games, especially 2 years ago. But obviously Bryson had an extraordinary campaign. Dwayne played the Air Force game last year when Bryson Daly was hurt, and we'll see. So let's say hello to Colonel Sam Houston from the West Point class of '87. Colonel, how are you tonight?
I'm great, Ken. It's so wonderful to be able to come back and have our first huddle of the year. And of course, at the end of this week, Friday night, we'll be able to check out the Army football version season 25.
Yeah, it's something. Went through, spring practice and then summer. The cadets, many went out to their summer field training. Quite a few went up to Fort Drum to follow Army officers there. Many came back to take classes and did weightlifting through the summer. And one of the things that stands out, Sam, from when I certainly started covering Army football 15 years ago, is every single one of the two deep players on the offensive line for Army are 300 pounds or better. And that's a big change. What do you think it took for Army to be able to, and West Point, to allow players to be able to be the size of comparable offensive linemen in college football?
Sure, there's been a combination of things that have taken place in the Monken era. First was Monken was able to get the green light approval through the academy leadership to allow his players to be able to bulk up to sizes that were more comparable with what you would expect at the FBS level. That was a big step because previous to that, under the previous coach Ellerson, Army's size were limited by expectations to meet commissioning weight, and they're still expected to meet that commissioning weight. So they know that when it's their time to graduate, they've got to lose and shed some pounds, and they do. However, this has been important. Second has been recruiting. Monken's level of recruiting has been able to touch people that previously would not have considered West Point as an option. And they're attracted to not only the brotherhood and the leadership and the facilities that the academy represents, but also the success. You know, they say success breeds success, and Monken's record since he's been the head coach has spoken for itself, has created the opportunity for people to come and be a part of something special, that being the bread. And also, as you can see from the pro ranks, have that opportunity, if they excel, to be able to at least have the opportunity on a waiver of their commission to be able to play at the next level as well. So this has all been a good thing for Army, and the type of offense and defense that Army plays bodes itself well to very large and very athletic and very intellectual young men who form the team that we see on the field.
Absolutely. I thought maybe I just go down today. Army announced its starting lineup, and maybe just run through that quickly. On offense, left tackle Henry Appleton, Will Jeffcoat at left guard, who I talked to today. Brady Small at center. That's one of the best centers in college football at center going into his junior year. Paolo Generali at right guard has got national recognition in the preseason. And Teddy Williams had been a tight end, is now the right tackle. He's gained some weight for that position. Starting quarterback, as we said earlier, will be Dwayne Coleman, and running back Hayden Reed. I should just mention on the backup quarterbacks, with Ethan Washington out, Cale Helms is listed as number 2, and Zach Mundell is listed as the third quarterback. Mundell has the flexibility to play some other positions on offense, could play slot back, could play wide receiver, could even be a kick returner, but no, they want him available. Hayden Reed, it's a big running back. Samari Howard, slot back Noah Short, just had a remarkable season. He's the guy on Army's offense that we want to get the ball to. Brady Anderson, wide receiver, and the tight end is Parker Poloski. And Sam, any surprises in that starting lineup from your view?
Well, no. Of course, several of the faces are familiar from last year. We know that Noah Short had a very much of a breakout year, especially early in the season. His combined yardage, I believe, was almost 700 yards. And, you know, he definitely came in big on a lot of special plays for Army last year, and certainly expect the same from him. The offensive line, you and I were talking just yesterday about this. Bringing back Brady Small and Paolo Generali, these two guys form the interior line. Brady, as you mentioned, he's one of the best centers in college football today. And I'm very pleased that he did not try to go through the portal, because he would have been snatched up pretty quick. So he's still part of the hood. He's going to anchor the center position where he's been a starter since a plebe. And Paolo, he and Brady were part of the what was recognized as the best offensive line in college football last year, winning the Joe Moore Award. But see, the other players, as you look at the players on the line, have all got playing time. They've all had opportunities to be on the field, and we've seen them have the chance to excel. Jeffcoat has even started games before. And so what this means is I think the offensive line, it's going to take probably a game to get their mojo, but I believe that the offensive line is going to be fine. Honestly, the biggest question mark about the season that needs to be answered, I do believe, is the quarterback position. I do believe that Dwayne Coleman has earned the position, and it's very unfortunate that Evan Washington went down with a season injury, and we certainly wish him the best and pray for a full recovery so he can be back on the field to be competing for the starting role next season. Coleman is not built like Bryson Daly. And with the weapons that he has around him in the backfield and at the wide receiver and tight end position, he's going to have to be a very effective true triple option quarterback and game manager, where he's getting the ball in space, making the right reads on the end, finding his people open in space and getting the ball to him. What Dwayne Coleman is not built to do is carry the ball 30 and 40 times with Bryson Daly. So this is going to be an important game this week and the Kansas State game to see how many reps Dwayne is able to endure and how much punishment he is able to take, especially in the Kansas State game, and see what the percentage breakdown is of how many times he's actually carrying the football as opposed to handing it off, pitching it, or getting it out in space to his playmakers. So that's probably the biggest question mark I have. I'm not going to call it a concern. He played very well in the Air Force game last year, and he had a lot of game time in mop-up last season as well. So looking forward to Friday night and watching him play.
Yeah, one newcomer, I would say, for Army football fans, a wide receiver is a sophomore, number 84, Brady Anderson. He is from Edina, Minnesota, and earned his way onto the starting lineup. Kayvon Pointer is his backup. Yeah, I agree. It's been kind of the chatter on the practice sideline is, distributing the ball to Army's really large group of capable running backs led by Hayden Reed, his backup, Jake Rendina from Montana, Samari Howard, Brady Motts, another new player, number 18, on the starting lineup. Was on the 2 deep. He's a junior running back. So you've got some quantity of good players, and utilizing them is going to be something I think we're going to see from the offense. Now, looking at the defense, defensive end, Jack Latour, I talked to today. Nose tackle, Cody Harris-Miller. DeShontes Gray, I also talked to today. It's an interview up on Twitter at CaMMVetsMedia. Outside linebacker, Eric Ford, number 40. Also at outside linebacker, Gavin Shields has made a move from the nickelback position. And on the inside, really the strength of the defense, Andon Thomas at 51 and 53, Caleb Fortner. I do want to mention number 48, Bryson Banks, is a freshman we talked to last week, and he is an aggressive playmaker. I was watching a scrimmage. I said to him, you're at the bottom of all these piles. And he smiled, but he's an aggressive, talented young player that's going to get some time in. In the backfield, Jaden Mays at cornerback, along with Justin Weaver. And at the safety, strong safety, Casey Larkin. Free safety, Colin Madison. Sam, what do you think? Obviously, the strength of this defense are those two inside linebackers.
The two positions that I am watching the closest on this, which includes a lot of returning talent from last year, fortunately. First is the nose tackle, Cody Harris-Miller. I want to know and be able to see that Cody Harris Miller is back at 100% and that he has the durability to remain at 100%. Prior to him getting injured last year, he was dominant in the middle. And the important role of the defensive line is not getting a bunch of tackles, it's taking out blockers. It's taking 2 and 3 blockers out of every play because it allows the linebackers to operate in space. What you never want on defense, especially the way Nate Woody runs defense, is you never want offensive linemen already in the second level blocking linebackers. And someone
Oh,
like
yeah.
Cody
Yeah,
Harris
gotta
Miller
keep that.
can stop the 2 and 3 linemen. And I want to see that young man is healthy, because when he is healthy, he is really good. And he's a real linchpin in the success of stopping the run on defense. The other is Colin Matterson. Colin Matterson takes over an extremely important position in the Moncanera, and that is free safety. Last 2 years in a row, Army has had the benefit of Max DiDomenico playing that position, calling the defensive backfield plays and doing an outstanding job of it too, I might add. This is a huge position. And Army does bring back some talent in the defensive backfield. Casey Larkin, most notably, I think he was their #1 interception guy last year and a very hard hitting guy. Colin Matterson has his work put out for him, and he's got some really big shoes to fill. But the good news about the way the Monken era has always worked is that every position, it's the next man up. And the person who has been occupying and providing that leadership in that position the season before or the 2 seasons before, part of their role is not just hitting on the field and making plays on the field. It's mentoring the teams that are on the players that are on the roster going to be stepping into your position if you're unable to perform or you graduate. And so for that matter, I believe Colin Matterson is very well mentored by Max DiDomenico, and he'll be ready for the position. So I expect good things. The Nate Woody defenses have always delivered. They're the first thing that they want is stop the run. And the soonest I see them stopping the run, the soonest I'll know the defense is going to be okay.
Okay, and on special teams, punter James Wagenstaller, and he's got experience as a junior. And Dawson Jones, number 95, will be the kicker. He's a sophomore. Anderson Britton will do the kickoffs. Cooper Allen will do the holding. He's also a backup punter. And Owen Walter is a lone snapper. And kick returners, Lloyd Benson and Jaden Mays, both on kicks and punts. Lloyd Benson has got a lot of experience, part of that group of running backs that has a lot of potential this year. I know Chuck was at the scrimmage on Friday when special teams was really the priority. Chuck, any comments on what you saw Friday night at the scrimmage?
Well, Ken, yeah, I think was a good preview of what's in store. Obviously, the Black Knights, well rested, prepared for the new season, no doubt under Coach Monken's solid leadership. It's going to be another exciting one, especially Dwayne Coleman front and center there. He's definitely gave a great performance, I thought, last weekend's scrimmage. So I expect it'll be more of the same once the regular season kicks off. And I'm really looking forward to what they have in store.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Thanks, Chuck. I think this team, from watching scrimmages, the offense is going to be smash mouth football. Running the fullbacks, utilizing the offensive line, and selective passing when they see an opening. And defense is going to be those 2 inside linebackers. Now, who else do we have in here? Do we have Jack McGurk yet?
Doesn't look like
talk
it.
a little. Okay, well, thank you, Stephanie. We'll catch. Jack's going to keep an eye on Navy and Air Force for us.
Okay.
Okay, Richard Miller, a couple of games this past weekend. You got the scores on those? Tarleton
Yes,
State game in
yes,
Portland?
yes, I do have the scores on those. Iowa State defeated number 17 Kansas State 24-21. Idaho State defeated UNLV 38-31. Fresno State and Kansas State, oh no, Fresno State and Kansas with a 31-7 win. Sam Houston and Western Kentucky 41-24 win in that game. Stanford defeat and Hawaii a 23-20 victory over Stanford. And Navy this weekend is going to be taking on, in case you were wondering, I know you were talking about Navy. Navy is taking on the VMI cadets.
Okay, that's a good start for the Naval Academy. Why don't you check where Air Force is going to be this weekend, Richard?
Air Force, let's see, Air Force football, that they are going to be home against Bucknell 3:30.
It's Bucknell. Bucknell's going out there. That's surprising. Bucknell's going to Air Force instead of coming here to play Army, which they've done a few times. I guess they wanted the plane flight out to Colorado Springs. That's all good. Let's see, Chuck, what are your thoughts? I know you were going to take a little look at Tarleton State.
Yep. Well, that was quite a game they had on Saturday. I'll tell you, it was a 42-0 shutout. The Texans, which also marked the first home shutout loss for the Vikings in 22 years. We saw a very solid performance by Trey Page III, made 2 rushing touchdowns, one for 28 yards in the first quarter. Then he ran 89 yards in the second with just under 11 minutes to go, while his teammate Victor Gabalis made 2 passing touchdowns. While Omar Edmonds made an interception return for another touchdown. 3 different Vikings quarterbacks combined for 3 interceptions. And overall, Tarleton amassed 453 yards total over Portland's 277. And of note is that it was the hottest game in Portland State football history, with temperatures going over 100 during the third quarter.
Wow. Wow. So it was a day game, 100 degrees in Portland, Oregon.
It's
I
crazy.
think that's a coastal town where it'd be pretty comfortable. That's something. Well, I guess Tarleton State was in shape going out to that game. It reminds me of Army's game last year at Florida Atlantic when it was over 90 degrees on the field turf and they chose to play the game at 12 noon. And Army went in and just smoked them. Really came to play. That really was a kind of an announcement win that they came to play in the American Athletic Conference and ended up going 8-0 on the season. We'll have to do a round robin on how many wins you all think Army's going to get this year on the season. And so it's always interesting. First game, I was talking to Coach Munkin about in college football, you don't play any other school in the preseason or even a spring game, which Coach Munkin said had been discussed. So you never really know about how good your team is because you haven't played anybody else. So it's week 1 is a nice indicator of what your team's strength is. And so we're looking forward to that. Richard, why don't you take us through some of the other big games on week 1 of college football?
Yep. We've got Oklahoma State taking on number 7 Oregon. That's at 4 o'clock. The number 1, the Texas Longhorns take on the number 3, the defending national champion Ohio State Buckeyes. Number 8 Alabama 3:30 will be taking on Florida State. Number 9 LSU will be taking on number 4 Clemson. That's a 7:30 game. And the number 2 team in the country, the Penn State Nittany Lions, will be taking on Nevada. That will be a 3:30 kickoff.
Nittany Lions, they're mentioned as a possible team to get to the national championship. And Sam, what's your thought on the broader scope of college football? Who are the teams that stand out to you?
Every year we speculate on the same thing, and every year you have your AP 25, you have your coaches 25 to start the season, and you have the pontificators telling us who's going to be the eventual national champion and everything else. I say that everything is on the table until about midway through the season when we can really see how these teams are. And there's always going to be a surprise team like Indiana last year, let's not forget, or Boise State. Those are two teams that made the playoff. So, we always have the usual suspects. There's Texas, and we're going to get to really see the ushering in of the Manning era with Arch Manning taking the starting role. People are already talking about Arch Manning as being the lead Heisman Trophy candidate. We'll see how that goes. Then you have, of course, Georgia. You've got Ohio State. You've got Michigan. You've got Indiana wanting to prove that their season last year was no fluke. You've got, of course, I'm here in Alabama. So, obviously you got Alabama wanting to prove that last year was no fluke. Really, it's gonna boil down to and one other thing I'll mention is we're gonna see the beginning of the Belichick era in college football with Bill Belichick at the helm of University of North Carolina, and we're gonna see how that goes. It's either gonna be a rounding success or it's gonna be a big flop, but only time's gonna tell. And the only way you're going to be able to tell is once the players are on the field lining up against their opposition and putting forth their best effort and putting forth what the coaches have instilled in them and taught them how to do on the field and how they react to adversity. So, we'll see. And the same thing goes for all three of the service academies. So, obviously, Army and the Squids, they both had great seasons last year. Both won their bowl games, both had double-digit wins. Of course, I still range, and I know that Coach Monken does as well, that the Commander-in-Chief Trophy does not ride at our Rockbound Highland home this season. I'm sure that is number one on their objective once again, their number one goal to bring it back. But look at Air Force. Air Force had a down year last year. There's nothing more that the Zoomies would want to do than turn it around and prove that they're back at the top of the heap in the academy football and the CIC play. And I'm here to submit to you that if they don't, I really believe that Troy Calhoun is on the hot seat. And I'll just mention that if we look at the three coaches of the three service academies, I think Calhoun is the one that's on the hottest seat. Newberry is a rising star. And Monken is always a commodity that people are eyeballing. And I've already seen articles about out of North Carolina where people are lamenting the fact that they didn't get Monken while they could. So we'll see how it all shakes out in the end. But I'm sure it's going to be a great season of college football. And I'm sure that Army, they've got a lot ahead of them. They have a big season behind them. And they have to forget about last season. They have to realize that this year's team is not last year's. This year's schedule is not last schedule. They've got a target on their back, and it's called the reigning AAC champions. And every team in the AAC is going to be gunning for Army, especially teams that Army beat last year in the AAC competition. They're going to want to prove that, hey, you might have knocked us out once, but you're not going to do it again. It's going to be a tough season. It's going to be a fun season, and looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think like East Carolina, they were so upset that they came in here and didn't play well and lost to Army. And so Army's going to be playing down there. And that is going to be, I'm sure that's a game that they have really been looking towards on their schedule to target. Certainly Memphis, who we're not going to see again this year, but was really right with Tulane as 2 and 3 in the conference, and that win by Memphis over Tulane Thanksgiving week resulted in the championship game being here at Mikey Stadium. Something Tulane certainly is going to remember when Army goes down there in October for a game. Temple, Army went down there. They're coming here this year. I remember when Temple gave Army such a tough time 10 years ago. They had big running backs. They were winning games over the likes of Penn State, and that'll be interesting. Which of the teams, anyone here really stand out? You got Navy, you got Memphis, you got Tulane, and you got East Carolina. Those are kind of the ones I think have a good chance. I don't know about South Florida. We haven't seen them. We're not going to see them again this year. But any other teams? Texas, San Antonio. We're going to go down there Thanksgiving weekend. Anyone else really stand out to you, Sam?
North Texas always, they're well coached and they always produce a very high octane offense. I would expect that they're going to be in the running again. As far as the AAC conference itself, I have to sit here and squeeze this napkin real tight that I'm holding in my hands right now when I say this. It's so difficult to say it. I got to say that if I can just extract myself to the strategic level and just be a non-biased observer here, I got to say that Navy's probably, they're probably the favorite for the conference this year. They're bringing back Horvath. They're bringing back, I believe, 6 out of 11 players on offense that was very explosive. They're running an offense that no one else in the conference runs. As a matter of fact, I don't think anyone else in the country runs their offense. Some people listening to me may say, wait a minute, don't they run a triple option like Army? Yeah, they used to, but they don't run a triple option anymore. No, Drew Cronick, their offensive coordinator, has them running a Delaware wing T. And I'm not going to get into the specific differences of the Delaware wing T, but I will. Yes, but I will tell you that their quarterback, Horvath, executes the Delaware wing T extremely well. And that is very dangerous for anyone who's got to line up against them. Any defensive coordinator in the AAC that has Navy on their schedule has got to be just having severe migraine headaches trying to figure out how to stop it. And unfortunately, last year in the Navy, in the Army Navy game, we came in with a beat up defense that only had a week to prepare, got caught out of position constantly, and it was brutal. It really was brutal. Navy came to play, and they took us out behind the woodshed. Memphis is always a contender in the AAC. You can never count them out, and I'm certain that they want to avenge the loss to Navy last year. UTSA is really an important game on Army's schedule, and I'm going to tell you why. Army has been pretty dominant against UTSA in the Monken era. There's only one time that UTSA beat Army, and that was in the 2020 season, I believe. And really, it boiled down to a muffed punt that allowed UTSA to get the ball back inside the 10-yard line, scored a touchdown. That touchdown proved to be the difference in going into overtime. UTSA won at Mikey Stadium. Other than that, Army has dominated UTSA. Actually, that was the 2020 season. So I guarantee you, UTSA has got Army marked on their schedule. This is the year. These guys coming to our house, we're going to punch them in the mouth, and they're going to get up and we're going to punch them in the mouth again. So we'll be at that game and looking forward to it. That's going to be a tough one. And I do believe by that time of the year, UTSA is going to be in the running for the AAC championship as well.
I guess the one thing with this conference last year that stood out to me was after the Florida Atlantic game, their coach, who got fired not too soon after, said that, Army came in with players that were 4th and 5th year experienced players on the team and had played together a long time, and that he was playing 50 transfers because of high rates of players leaving for the portal and having to replace them with new players, and that taking something out of his team. Do you see that as a factor again this year, Sam, or do you think it's stabilized to some degree?
It's obvious it didn't stabilize. I mean, the transfer portal and NIL is devastating college football. And a lot of people will say it's in college football because of the fact that people are jumping ship for money or doing whatever. I think you got to get back to the basics of what it is that you play for. Why do you play football? You play football because you love the game. You love the game. Why? Because of your teammates. Why do you love your teammates? Because of the brotherhood. And quite frankly, NIL is destroying the continuity of being able to build a team culture at any given campus, except for three. That's the service academies, where these players, with the exception of two or three that will bounce in the portal, and then of course those who don't make it through the 4-year journey, but they literally play for 3-4 years together. And they know the strengths and weaknesses of the player to their left and right. And they watch, they watch for each other's back, and they build a culture of love that makes up for sometimes the talent gap that exists. So this is a really important. There's 3 teams in FBS football that harken back to the day when you would see players that were playing for their team for 4 years, and then they would graduate and go in pros or do whatever they were going to do. And that's the 3 service academies. And that's one of the biggest reasons why you got to love service academy football, because we're old school in that regard. NIL is not a factor for us. Yeah, we do have players that leave, not many, and everyone else plays their entire college career at the same campus, for the same coach, for the same brotherhood.
Absolutely, of course. It was a big day for the juniors at West Point last week when they started class. That stepping foot in class as a junior is the moment, the milestone that the cadet affirms that they will serve as a U.S. Army officer. They will graduate from West Point and they'll serve 5 years or more in the U.S. Army. And so a big day for the juniors. They have had a special ceremony recognizing them at West Point. It was also notable, I know Chuck got to cover it for us, the ring ceremony last Friday night. West Point, all the West Point seniors received their class rings. Chuck, what was that like for you to attend? I know it was the first time I think you've gotten to that.
It was indeed, Ken. Certainly enjoyable experience, a very exciting event. You could feel it in the air, with all the parents, family members, friends in attendance, and seniors eagerly awaiting presentation when they could don their rings. Yeah, to use a variant of that immortal phrase. And it was just something exciting to watch, see it in action.
No, glad you were able to get that. I know you got a video up on our YouTube page of the ceremony, and yeah, that iconic moment when they get the order, don your rings, and they can open up the ring box that they've been given and see the ring and try it on. And Sam, tell us a little bit about that. And then there's a very special ceremony, not really a ceremony, but it's a tradition at West Point about what happens when the seniors go back to their barracks with their new rings and they're greeted by the freshmen. Tell us about that one.
Time-honored tradition, and it's such a milestone for every cadet that you dream about, you look forward to. For your first 3 years at the academy, you cannot help but watch the firsties and see that ring on their finger, and just know that that's something that you're going to earn the right to wear and be a part of the long gray line. And then comes the special time in your cow year when you actually do the ring fitting and the ordering and everything else. But the real magic starts at ring weekend. And ring weekend is an all weekend event. It's a fabulous ceremony banquet, the ring presentation banquet. You know, for my class, we were in Washington Hall and it was full dress and everyone was dressed to the nines. You didn't have your dates for the ring presentation ceremony. This was as we would say, like a dining in, so to speak. Your ring box was in front of you on the table and you went through the ceremony procedure, and then in our class's case, what happened is we took the ring out of the box, dropped it in our glass of wine, drank our glass of wine, wiped our ring off, and were given the order to put our green light to put our rings on, and it just was a magical moment. But then the funny tradition that happens is in your sprint to head out of the ring presentation ceremony back to the barracks to change clothes so you can go be with your date for the weekend, is you got to run a gauntlet of the plebes, and all the plebes are just waiting to ambush you. And when I say ambush you, I mean they gather around you and they go, you know, it's, oh my God, sir, what a beautiful ring. What a crass mass of brass and glass. It must have cost you a fortune. May I touch it, please, sir? And of course, you're like, no, please, you can't touch it. And you have to go through that with plebes gathered around you 20 times before you can even get to your ring. And it's just, it's just a hilarious and fun tradition that I'm glad continues to this day at the Academy. Congratulations to the class of 2026 for earning your rings. Now graduate and keep the rings, because that's the other thing that you got to know is that you still have to graduate to keep your ring, because only graduates of the U.S. Military Academy keep this coveted ring on your finger.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's quite a special tradition. Now, my understanding is class rings, the whole tradition started at West Point. Prior to the Civil War, they went back and forth between rings and cufflinks and settled on class rings, and then it became a tradition that's followed at most colleges and high schools around the country.
It's impressive.
Well, let's see, Chuck, do you have anything more for us you wanted to mention?
Well, yeah, Ken, as I said, it certainly was an exciting time to be there, you know, just the start of that whole weekend, you know, and seniors, no doubt, showing off what I think is the ultimate status symbol for someone, you know, of their class ranking. And yep, and they certainly were eager to show them off once the ceremony concluded. Posted a few photos on social media, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, just we put them out again today, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's great to see, and they work so hard to get into West Point, go through Beast Barracks, go through freshman year, advanced sophomore year, junior year, and they're preparing to pick a branch or be selected for a branch in the Army and a post to be stationed at, and then graduate here at Mikey Stadium. And what a great symbol. And so we appreciate you joining us. Richard, anything more for us tonight?
Let's see. Oh, just the fact that the start of another Army football season, trying to build off, last year's successful, as Sam said, last year was last year. Now on to this year. Let's see.
Yeah. Let's do a round. We'll do 2 rounds.
Ken, I think that it would be. Hey, Ken, I don't mean to interrupt you. I think that it would be appropriate to give an introduction to Stephanie, who joins
Yes.
us
Okay.
tonight. And she's been doing a good job putting this show on for us.
Yeah, Stephanie, thank you. We appreciate it. It's there's a lot of production to get this done, and we're going to have some new features we're going to add as we go
Yep.
along this year. So thank
Yeah.
you from all the way out in Minnesota helping us out.
Yep, no problem. I am definitely going to explore more with this. This isn't live right now on YouTube, but it will be going up on YouTube. I was told I had to request permission, and so I have 24 hours for us to be able to go live. So by the next huddle, we should be able to go live.
Okay, we're learning the technology.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
so
do
this
want to
is-
say
your help.
about, yeah, I do want to say about Stephanie. Stephanie's introduction to Army football happened at very hot and humid ULM 2 years ago. And she took a selfie with the suit, a selfie with A-Man, and a selfie with the Army Mule. And since then, she's become one of Army's #1 fans who's not a grad. And every single game that she attends, she gets a selfie with the suit, a selfie with A-Man, and if she can, a selfie with the Army Mule. So it's really great to have, Army's top man helping us out with the huddle.
Well, I appreciate it, Stephanie. I got to do a thank you to Army Athletics. There's a reason that the stadium is lit up behind me, and that's so that we could broadcast right from Mikey Stadium live. And it's very much appreciated that they left the stadium lights on a little late for us today. But we're gonna all be back here
Nice.
on Friday night, 6 o'clock start. Now let's go down. How many wins do you think Army's going to get this year? Why don't we start with Chuck? A 12-game season. How many wins do you think Army's going to have at the end of the season?
My prediction, Ken, would be 9.
Okay. Okay. And any breakdown on that?
Yeah. Well, I think it's going to be mostly wins. Obviously, I think there's going to be, a couple of scattered losses. I think
Kansas
perhaps
State
3.
game's going to be tough.
Yeah.
And I think it's be tough to stay undefeated in the American Conference, but that's a goal. 8-0 so far. Okay, Chuck, thank you. Let's go to Richard. What do you think? How many wins for Army this year?
How many wins this year? I'm gonna go looking 3, 6, 7, 9, 10, 12. I'm gonna go 10-2.
Okay, so you're gonna go with last year.
Yes, 10-2, and they're both gonna defeat both Air Force and Navy.
Okay, so you're gonna win the
Yeah.
Commander-in-Chief trophy.
Yes.
Okay, very good. And let's go to let's see, Stephanie, do you want to weigh in on that one?
I would agree with Chuck for either 8 to 9 wins because I was re-looking at the schedule and it looks like there are a couple that we played and kicked their butt. So they might want to come back and show us that it ain't happening again this year. So
That's a good point.
we will definitely have to see.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Stephanie. Thanks again for all your help on getting us on the air today. Okay,
problem.
Sam, your turn. Tell us what do you think the season record might be at the end of the year?
Yeah, I would love to blurt out a 12-2 season. I think the first game is going to tell us, the first 2 games are going to tell us a lot about the character of this team and what we might be able to expect moving forward, especially the game against Kansas State. My gut is telling me that this is going to be an 8-5 season. Will not be competing for the AAC championship this year. However, I'm with Richard, and I do believe that we're going to, the team is going to reach deep down inside and bring that beautiful Commander-in-Chief trophy back to West Point. And win number 8 is going to be a bowl victory, perhaps in the Armed Forces Bowl.
Well, it would be good to go back. Army's had some great days, being the likes of San Diego State and Missouri in the Armed Forces Bowl. That would be a great place to end up. Let's see, we didn't get Jack in today. We'll have him join us next week. I would say it's going to be tough. I think looking at the Kansas State game, it's going to be a real challenge playing out there. They're coming off a loss, so they're really going to be anxious to try to get a win, even their record. They're a top 25 team. But Army, I think it could be a very close game out there. But Army's got to get past their opener, play well against Tarleton State, and then go out to Kansas State, which will be interesting. I'm actually looking forward to trying to get out to Fort Leavenworth and Fort Riley, the 2 big Army bases. So very strong Army presence in eastern Kansas, where that game's going to be played. The conference, I think, like East Carolina, is going to be tough. Don't play Memphis. Tulane down there is going to be a tough game. And then it's going to be a battle. We'll see if they get to the conference championship game this year. And then you got Navy and you've got Air Force. Air Force, we'll have to see how they do. But going out there and playing in Falcon Stadium this year is going to be a challenge. Army's had some good efforts out there in recent years. They finished their stadium rebuild project. It looks, they have a big box of glass enclosed stands now in their east stands. So that's going to be interesting. And I think going to San Antonio the day after Thanksgiving is going to be a challenging place to play. So Army's got its work cut out. And Navy game, it goes without saying it's just a classic. And so I think I would agree with the 8 or 9 wins for the season, plus a bowl win. So I think they have a good shot at getting to 10 wins. And I think so you may see a 10-2 or 10-3 season on the year. So I think that just wraps it up. I know Chuck will be here with me on Friday night. Richard will be watching. It's again available on the CBS Sports Network, as are all Army home games. And so anyone final thoughts? Sam?
Yeah, you want to do a round for everyone to give their prediction for Friday's game?
Okay, we can do that. Why don't we do that? Okay, Chuck, why don't you start?
All right. Well, I think but it's going to be 21-7.
Who's going to win?
Yep, I think Army will take this one.
Okay, I think Army will win its home opener. Okay, Richard.
I'm gonna go 24-7 Army.
24-7. Okay, I think a pretty good offensive day. Sam, what do you think?
Yeah, well, it's an FCS opponent. It's the only one on Army's schedule this year. However, it's not a normal FCS opponent. It's Tarleton State, and name recognition doesn't go far, but their ranking in FCS football does. They're in the top 10. They blasted Portland State. They run an RPO offense. Victor Gabalis is a 3-year starter. He's a big guy. He's tall. He's got great vision. Trey Page, their running back, had a field day against Portland State, 15 carries for 170 yards. He's a really fast guy, hits the perimeter quickly. Army's going to have to contain these folks. They're very dangerous. So that being said, normally in the Monken, especially in the past 11 years of the Monken era, I would have predicted a blowout against an FCS team. I'm not going to do that this time. It's the opening game. We got a new quarterback. We got some new players. My prediction of the game is going to be 35-24 Army.
Okay, you see a pretty high scoring game.
Yep.
So, okay, very good, Sam. Houston, class of 87. I would go a little, I think a Nate Woody defense is going to keep Tarleton State to 10, maybe 13 points. I think Army's going to grind it out on offense using, their group of fullbacks and slot backs, and Dwayne Coleman's going to have a good game. Get the butterflies out. He started before against Air Force. He knows how to play, and I think an Nate Woody defense is going to be able to bottle up Tarleton State largely. So I'm going to go for 24-10 Army on opening night here at Mikey Stadium, and encourage you all to come out Friday. Great way to start Labor Day weekend with a football game at Mikey Stadium.
Make sure you let Stephanie.
Oh, Stephanie, you want to go?
Make sure you let
Stephanie,
Stephanie give her prediction.
I'm the only one, unfortunately, that thinks this might be a little bit tough of Army pulling out a win. I'm hoping that we do. But like there's too many variables of difference, and then the fact that Tarleton State did beat them really bad with the last game. I think it's going to be a challenge, but it might pull out and surprise us, or not surprise us with Tarleton State actually winning. But I don't think it's going to be a huge margin in any way, shape, or form. I think we're going to put up a huge fight so that they don't keep racking up scores.
But,
I
we
think
hope-
that we will score a couple. And like I said, I'm probably one of the few that, because of the variables that are still to be determined, because they've at least had one game under their belt already, and we are just having our first game,
Okay.
it will definitely be interesting to see.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that, Stephanie. Again, thank you for your help on production. I think they're turning the lights out on me in about 3 minutes. So
You
I
got the
just want to
best
wrap
setting
up.
for the huddle, man.
Yeah, this
Right.
is a great setting. We really appreciate the team at Army Athletics for making sure we had lights in Mikey Stadium to do this. So I just want to thank Stephanie and Colonel Sam Houston, Chuck Donegan, and Richard Miller. Anyone else on? Okay, we thank our team. And so we'll be here. Watch for our coverage of the Parade of Cadets on Friday afternoon, our pregame for Mikey Stadium, reports during the game on Twitter, and then our postgame will hopefully be live with Coach Munkin and the players after the game Friday night at Mikey Stadium. So thanks for watching. It's Ken Kreitzer for CaMMVetsMedia. We're in our 17th year, and we cover cadets, midship, and the military and veterans proudly, and we've been doing it since 2008. Thanks for watching. Have a great evening.
Have a great evening, guys.
You too.
Okay.
Beat Tarleton State.